Hi, this is Real World Audio, and the star of today's educational video is the Fender Deluxe Reverb. And I'm going to share this because I show a path that you can follow if you have an older tube amplifier or a guitar amplifier. What is it that you need to be aware of before you power it up? This was a request I already received a few months ago, that I have an amplifier, what do I need to do, what do I need to watch out for. So I'm going to use this as a showcase to share a few things that needs to be taken care of through the specific example of how this deluxe reverb was revived. So basically, a friend of mine got this amp and it was in stock condition, but the rectifier tube was missing and he doesn't know why was it missing, what happened to it. And what he did is he has a bunch of other guitar amps, so he took out the tubes. The power tubes are 6v6 and basically 12 AX7 variants and 12 AT7s, and he put them in his other guitar amps, and the tubes worked fine. So those tubes were okay. He bought a 5U4G to replace it, and then he noticed that it's really wobbly, that the tube socket is super duper loose. So best case scenario, maybe because the tube socket was loose, originally the owner, the person he got it from, maybe he lost the rectifier tube because it fall out. And however, and actually one thing that we noticed is I just asked him to shoot me over some photos of this beauty, how the internals look like, and few things to note. Now this is the upside of the amp, so you won't see too much things here, but you see that we have a board here, and on the board it's not a printed circuit board, but there is like dedicated components on it, and there's no lead on the board. So basically just the eyelets, they connect the parts together. So there are no traces on the board, and this is a very good sign. If there are no traces, then the amplifier is much more repairable. You are going to have a much higher chance of being able to repair it compared to having traces. When you see those tiny squiggly lines there, maybe the camera picks it up, maybe no it doesn't, it can't focus on it. Yeah, it does. Look at that. So you see all those lines are the printed traces, and when you have those trace situations, those can corrode, oxidize, and go bad. Of course, if you live in dry climate, that's not going to be an issue for you for many decades. But here in Hawaii, if your PCB is older than 5 years and it lived here for more than 5 years, you are going to have some issues with it. And if it's like 20 years old, then it needs a divine intervention to still work. Humidity kills traces that fast here. So that's why it's a wonderful thing not to have those traces there. And yep, so here these guys are up here, these are electrolytic capacitors, and these are the main filter caps. So here there's the power transformer, and that supplies through the rectifier tube the voltage for these little buggers here to filter out the choppy AC to DC. And this little baby here is a choke. It's an inductor that helps with the ripple filtering, and this is the output transformer. And this thing here, this is an input transformer for the pedal circuit. So there are 4 pedal inputs there, and this guy is connected to them. How do I know that? I flipped it up to the other side and checked how the wiring works. And because I don't have a schematics yet for this amp, and this is really a video about how to quickly troubleshoot something, even if you don't know it fully, or you just want to make a quick test, a quick repair. What are the basics you need to do without becoming a wizard on electronics? So to go back to that, first you need a visual inspection. As I told you, my friend, he checked out that all these boards, they look pretty nice. So when you look at the solder joints, if I can focus on it, they are neat. And then he already changed these guys, so they are freshly done. But if you look at the eyelets there, they look pretty decent. There is no sign of corrosion on them, and they are happy. So if you don't see signs of corrosion, then it's a good chance that most likely most of your parts will, and the connectivity, the joints between the individual parts is not going to be a main issue or an imminent issue. So visual inspection, no funky business, nothing, no capacitors which are blown up, signs of extreme heat stress. All the tubes worked. You can either use a tube tester, or what he did, he just plugged them in a different amp, and they played fine. So that's good enough to establish that the tubes are functional. And now next thing, we have to inspect the transformers visually. For the power transformer, that's the big guy here, you see that there's some signs of stress here, but no signs of stress there. But here you see some of the internal juices just leaking out there. It means that the power transformer was overheated at one point, or maybe multiple times. But down there you don't see additional signs of leakage. So, and also when we flipped it over from the underside, it looks really nice. So I told him, well, we just have to wait for powering up whether there's a problem with this or not. These guys looked pretty nice, actually. This was not the original one, but that will be the end of the story. This was the original. It turned out that there was a short with this guy. And on the outside and the inside, I think I will make it the next video, because I will have to flip it over belly up for that. So on the inside there are the coupling caps and the small signal caps, which were those old blue capacitors. I had him change all of those because they are just too old, and